Hi, Rich Bychek here, Chief Engineer at Intertek. I'd like to welcome you to today's open house at our grand opening of our materials lab here at the Plymouth, Michigan facility. We've got several presentations going on and live lab tours, and we're going to give you a bit of a virtual tour here today. And we've been in this facility since 2011, and we've expanded multiple times over those years, including EV battery testing, battery safety, electric vehicle charging, and of course here today, our plastics and polymers materials lab testing. Where is, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to meet Doug. So out here, our primary performance testing lab, we've got almost 100 chambers in all, ranging from small reach-in size up through full drive-in capable chambers. And these handle temperature and humidity. Some of our chambers go down to minus 50 degrees or lower. Other chambers will exceed over 100 degrees C. And most of them can also perform humidity testing up to 95% humidity. So we can get really those extreme environmental conditions for all of the automotive components, as well as multiple other industries. You'll see behind me one of our dunk tanks where we can actually do water immersion testing at the same time. So we can heat the water in a cold environment, freeze the water in a hot environment, and get those thermal shock, whether it's fluid or air-to-air types of thermal shocks. You'll see here one of the chambers, you can identify how it holds a full vehicle in place for testing. Often the vehicle becomes the test fixture when we're looking at various components within a system. I've got Doug Berlin here, our department manager for the Performance Lab. Doug, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your team does here.
My team does a lot of automotive component testing. We'll do full vehicle bumper to bumper, but most of the time it's just components. We put them through environments. We do a lot of environmental durability and environmental durability cycling.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Doug. We're going to move on to the EV test area. I'll let you get back to work.
All right, great.
So moving on over here, this is one of the areas that we expanded into about 15 years ago, and specifically devoted to electric vehicle battery testing. So it is kind of isolated from the rest of the lab here for health and safety purposes, personnel safety. And I'd like to introduce you to Stefan Buck, who is the department manager for our battery lab. Stefan, tell me a little bit about what we've got going on over here in the batteries lab.
Thanks, Rich. Well, behind me, we have our high voltage battery testing area. So here we focus primarily on higher voltage modules or pack level testing for electric vehicles. We have a handful of 10 by 10 by 10 walk-in chambers that are all paired with either ABC 170 high voltage battery cyclers or even more powerful AV900 battery cyclers. In addition, we have a test profile or test software that we use to develop profiles and scripts. And then we compare all those battery packs with a variety of different brand chillers or process thermostats that we use for cooling the batteries as they're charging and discharging.
Thanks, Stefan. So I'll let you get back to what you're doing. We'll move on to our vibration test area. So overall, the facility's got 200,000 square feet in total. The area that we're in right now is approximately half of that square footage. And again, has been in operation since 2011 when we actually combined several smaller facilities and expanded to add multiple large chambers and other capacity here in the lab. Behind me, you see this one area, confidential testing. This allows customers, specifically EV battery customers, to disassemble their tested products in between tests or after tests so they can do their own inspections in a confidential environment. Of course, there's multiple tests running on in parallel. We've had multiple customers, so it's really important to make sure we can maintain that confidentiality when they want to do these types of analysis of their products after testing. Now we're moving on over to our vibration area. It is quite noisy in there, so this is fully isolated from the rest of the lab. We'll have a little talk as we approach that with the department manager here, Matt Grabowski, and hopefully kind of keep the noise to a minimum as we stay just outside that lab. And we'll be able to take a peek inside after we have a quick discussion here. Hi, Matt. So Matt Grabowski, he's the department manager for our vibration team here. And if you tell us a little bit about what we have going on in the lab today.
I'd say we do have 14 ED shakers, and they vary from 2,000 force-pounds to 55,000 force-pounds. Table sizes from 2 foot by 2 foot to 6 foot by 6 foot. Majority shakers do have environmental capabilities, minus 40 to 150 C, depending on chamber size. And we do also have humidity testing capabilities as well, and of course mechanical shock testing. I'll say today you're not going to see too many things running just based off of confidentiality, some axis changes going on. We do have our 55,000 force-pound shaker on the other side running a test right now, and it's in its own separate room there.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate you giving us a little bit of an insight to what we do in the Vibe Lab. Again, it is really noisy in there, so we're going to kind of keep it to the outside of the room.
I'm having a little hard time here.
No worries. Well, let's move on here. Actually, before we stop at the next area, I'll show you a quick demonstration we have of a cyclic durability test. And this is a common type of test. Doug mentioned earlier we do a lot of durability work, often in chambers, but other times the vast majority of cycles are done in an ambient environment. So you can see a seat cycling facility or fixture we have going on here. And this will do several thousand cycles folding and unfolding the seat. We can use this for opening and closing doors, activating switches, levers, user controls. It's a fully automated system, and the fixture itself is designed and built in-house here at our Plymouth lab. You'll see some of the stops and controls in place to ensure that it gets the proper cycle counts. And this is definitely ruggedized in relation to the sample itself, because the fixture is going to go into the chamber along with the samples and experience the same number of cycles multiple times over at the temperature and humidity extremes that the sample has to go through in a vehicle. Now move on over to our first new area of our materials testing lab. So it's going to take a minute to get over there. We're passing by where we do some of our electric vehicle charging system testing, interoperability testing. As we get around here, you'll see this is our largest chamber here. It's 25 feet long and can house a full-size truck or multiple smaller vehicles. We've got an EV charger set up here, and actually you'll see our drive-over fixture next to it, which is used for evaluating the robustness of EV charging charge couplers and handles. So we've got one of our tours going by here. And now we're entering into a bit of a combined area where we do battery testing, but over here in a separate isolated area, we have our first materials lab that's been added here recently. Hi guys, one of you guys to give us a little quick of an intro as to what we're doing here?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm going to take a step up here. I'll hand you the microphone so our listeners can hear what's going on.
how's that? I don't know. This is I'm Brett. This is our thermal analytical lab, and we have four main pieces of thermal analytical equipment: TMA, TGA, DSC, and DMA. So I don't know how much detail you want me to get in with each of these, but
so what are the primary products or components that we're going to be testing here in this lab?
It's mostly all plastic parts. And these are done small scale, so like you cut off a tiny little chunk of plastic off of any part that's molded out of plastic, and you can get various thermal properties on this equipment.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We'll move on to the rest of the lab here. Before we get to the second new materials lab area, I'd like to quickly show our battery safety lab. So Stefan, who you met earlier, is the lab manager for this area as well. It is isolated because we are running live testing today. There are actually batteries under test inside the lab that could potentially catch fire or explode under testing. So we actually have isolated bunkers inside this area, separate air scrubbers for air quality and additional health and safety measures to protect our personnel when they're doing these tests. Of course, these are a very critical tests because batteries are, of course, in everything that we use, of course, electric vehicles as well as small products. So the testing that we do here today helps verify that the construction of the batteries as well as the control systems and safety circuits are working as intended, even under some of those extreme conditions where they would otherwise be damaged or non-functional. We want to make sure they still will work. And in some cases, we'll actually do an abuse test on a battery where we will intentionally bypass all those controls just to see what the potential worst case could be for an individual battery construction or battery size. So that's why we have to keep that area fully isolated. Now we'll move along to the next area of the lab here. So this is our machine shop area. Again, you saw some of the fixtures already, and you'll see a few as we walk by here. This is where we actually design and build in-house all of our own fixtures. We have multiple 3D CNC machines, as well as more traditional lathes and Bridgeports, where our engineers and technicians basically make some magic and fabricate fixtures to either hold samples, simulate vehicles, simulate operational conditions, or just have it robust enough to handle those extreme vibration environmental conditions that the samples have to go under. Again, the fixture's going to have to withstand even more. So we'll move on to our other materials lab next.
So please, stop coming into our restaurants and using our staff to be minors.
Again, another one of our cycle fixtures over here. Again, we've got a lot of seat testing going on today, but you can just see some of the examples of the automated controls. A lot of these are pneumatic. We might use hydraulics, and it really depends on the forces required, the cycle times required, which type of actuation is used, sometimes electronic even. So often pneumatic gives us a very durable fixture, very easy to swap out parts, very modular in nature, which helps our clients run testing very quickly, swap over to new parts almost immediately. So we'll move on to our BSR area next, and this is an area where we do specific sound testing, and BSR stands for buzz, squeak, and rattle evaluations. And we'll move over to that area as there's another tour going on in our additional materials lab. You'll notice possibly that it's much quieter here than we are in the rest of the lab. So buzz, squeak, and rattle really relies on a quiet ambient noise environment. And while this part of the lab is already much quieter than the rest of the lab, all of buzz, squeak, and rattle testing is actually performed inside a semi-anechoic chamber, helps keep it down below 30 decibels background noise. And this really helps to make sure that any sounds that we measure is actually coming from the parts under test, and we're not picking up that ambient noise. So I've got Aaron here who's manning our BSR chamber today.
BSR chamber.
And you can tell us a little bit more about what we do in here.
Well, right now, I just have a fixture on there. We're running a lateral axis profile right now. It's mostly to determine components and find out where it's making noise at. So with everything being quieter and with the advent of the EVs, everything wants to be quieter inside the cabin. So that's what we do this testing for, is to determine where it's making noise and why. And then the clients can make design changes to quiet it down, then we rerun it and go from there.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And you can see the fixture in place here. This vibration system is actually ultra quiet. It is actually going through vibration. And you heard the other vibration lab as we walked by a few minutes ago. It's extremely loud. So again, it's important that the test fixture, the vibration system itself, does not impart any of its own noise. And that microphone that's set up there is only going to pick up the noise that comes from the sample. As Aaron mentioned, in electric vehicles especially, where there's not a lot of powertrain noise, we really have to be dialed in to pick up those sounds and those ambient noises that are occurring inside the vehicle, which are often a false warranty issue. A noise that is really normal operation might be perceived by the occupant of a vehicle as a warranty issue or a broken part. So buzz, squeak, and rattle testing has continually evolved over the years from just the normal noisy parts and wear and tear testing to really ensuring that all of the noise dampening in the vehicle is working as it's expected. Now we'll move on to the second materials lab area. First, our gravelometer. This is a gravel bombardment test where this hopper will actually be loaded with stones and gravel, and inside the box here, we're actually propelling that gravel against a surface. And this is really to help us evaluate paints and coatings, bumpers, radiators, etc. So the large parts in there being really bombarded by this gravel to simulate what happens when you're driving down the road and you have actual gravel and road debris thrown up at a vehicle over several thousand miles. So in a very short period of time, we can evaluate the durability of those paints and coatings to make sure the vehicle is not severely damaged. Next, our dust and corrosion area. So this room is primarily for dust testing. So it's isolated again from the rest of the lab because dust and silica powders can be a potential hazard. So it has to be separately ventilated and filtered compared to the rest of the lab. these large and small chambers are set up to handle different sizes of test samples to impart dust upon them. And this dust is cycled and kicked up around the samples. There are different types of literally calibrated dusts from around the world to simulate the types of dust that occur, for example, in China or Japan or other volcanic regions, as well as your standard dust, if you will, talcum powder used often just to evaluate the ability of the sealing integrity of gaskets and enclosures as they're put together. So we're kind of stepping around another tour here, give them a little bit of space as we look at the other materials test lab. Again, this is another area that was just recently added, and this is where we do a lot of our different materials testing and structural testing on specifically plastics. And if I could have a quick moment, if you want to explain what we're doing in here.
It's actually Charlie there.
Oh, there's Charlie. Okay, there he is. Charlie, if you can give us a quick intro on what we're doing in this lab.
Hi, I'm Charlie Lynn. I'm the team leader for the materials lab. And right now, as you can see, we have a lot of equipment here. We have several UTMs, universal testing machines that do a lot of tensile strength, compressive force, and we could do coefficient of friction. You see this sled here measures the coefficient of friction between your materials. A lot of times we're using for bags or gift wraps or stuff. We also have a multi-axial impact tester. We have, this way, we have a Galbo flex tester. This is used for bags materials. Over on this side, we have some electrical testing for measuring the insulative capabilities of materials. And then we have several impact testers. We have a Gardner impact tester, drop dart, and we have Izard Sharpie impact testers. Those are used to measure basically the breaking strength of materials when hit with a sharp object. And then here we have a dielectric constant coefficient tester. It's used also again for the insulative properties of a material for electrical work. And on this side we have a hot tack heat sealer. It's basically used for sealing force on bags and films. And then back in this row we have various hardness testers, and we have a haze meter, which is widely used for measuring basically the optical properties of a material. And at the end, we have some of our sample prep stuff. We have an Elmendorf tear test, which is used for films. And we have, I think I mentioned some hardness testers, but we have durometer A, D, and various heads for Rockwell hardness. So, thank you.
Appreciate that. So yeah, we do a full characterization of different types of materials, especially those plastics and polymers, so that they can be essentially pre-qualified for use in a vehicle. Because of those extreme environmental conditions that the vehicles are going to go through, it's best to make sure that you've already pre-qualified the material before you form it together, before you tool it, and make those components that end up in the vehicle, when we will then do that final testing at the component or subsystem level in the rest of the lab. So appreciate your time today. That's the end of today's tour. You've seen our new materials lab and some of our legacy testing capabilities here at Plymouth, and I invite you to come by and stop and give us a visit.